All right, so wanted to record a quick video and talk about Apple iOS 14 updates and how this is going to affect advertisers going forward, especially if you're a client of ours. This is really important going into this coming year, 2021, and I think this is going to have a big effect on advertising going forward. So kind of wanted to share with you guys like what's happening, what we're doing because of it, what we plan to do because of it this year, and what's going to happen next. So at a really high level, if you haven't heard about this at all, this year Apple is rolling out their iOS 14 like operating system for iPhones, and one of their big focuses on this update is privacy. So this is one of the like core things that is going to be updated with this new update, and specifically like they're talking about kind of taking shots at Facebook over this. So what's going to happen going forward is anybody who is using a Facebook app, so Facebook, Instagram, WhatsApp, any of these, at some point in early 2021, we don't know the exact date, but Facebook will have to start showing this prompt, which is, would you like permission? Would you like to give Facebook permission to track you across other apps and websites owned by other companies? And users are going to have to select whether or not they want to opt into this or not. Presumably, a lot of people are going to opt out of this. Like you can probably imagine, if given the choice, if Facebook can track you right now, would you say yes or no? A lot of users will probably feel similar. And so that being the case, Facebook's kind of freaking out about this, and they've taken out a couple of you can see here, they've taken out like some full page ads in major newspapers. I think this was the Wall Street Journal or the New York Times, something really big, and they're running a huge campaign about how this is going to destroy small businesses. And so presumably this is going to be a really big deal. Facebook is definitely saying that it's going to be a big deal. And they started notifying all the advertisers. So if you've been inside your ad account, or if you haven't been inside your ad account, you're seeing a lot of prompts. If you're inside your ad account, you're seeing a lot of prompts about this, right? About how this update is going to affect advertising. And basically they're expecting what could be potentially a large disruption in advertising. So coming straight from Facebook, what are they saying the impact of this could be? Well, they're saying this is going to limit your ability to effectively reach, understand, and engage people on mobile devices and across the web. And specifically what this could affect is your ability to deliver ads to the right people based on engagement with your business, measure and report on conversions from certain customers, ensure that your ads are delivered to the most relevant audiences, and predict and optimize your cost per action over time and effectively allocate budgets. For coming straight from Facebook, what they're saying, and I think this is just to show you kind of what they're saying could be the extreme case of this, is they're saying small businesses could lose up to 60% of their sales when they tested this kind of new tracking scenario in a case study. So I don't think it's going to be that extreme, especially for our clients, because I think we have more sophisticated advertising possibilities, but this is definitely a big change going into this year. And so kind of just talking about what we know about this. So this is going to be a huge change for user privacy that affects advertisers going forward. And presumably this is the first big domino to fall in what will continually be more and more dominoes. GDPR happened in Europe a few years ago, and this is going to happen now because Apple's basically rolling out a new development platform for apps that are going to have all these user privacy protections inside of it. And presumably we'll see more and more things like this continue to happen as browsers are getting rid of certain types of cookies and all kinds of stuff. So this isn't new. Advertisers are always going to continue to kind of figure out new technology to work with what data is available, and definitely these giant platforms are going to find ways to get data. But one thing that I think is really interesting is that Facebook is making updates to their entire ad platform because of this. So because Apple iOS 14 is making this update for their Apple, iPhone users, Facebook's going to update their entire ad platform. And one thing Facebook said is we're not going to have an ad platform for iOS 14 people and not iOS 14 people. presumably it could just be like them getting on top of a trend that they see coming, right? Like they see that user privacy is getting more important, so they're going to start kind of closing off some of the data that's available to advertisers. Most importantly, how this is going to affect us immediately is we will most likely start to lose visibility on important conversion actions that are measured by the Facebook pixel when users have opted out. And Facebook's going to start using statistical modeling to try to help advertisers optimize their ad budgets. So what that means is if someone has opted out of tracking and they're on an iOS14 device, if they convert on your Facebook pixel, you will presumably lose a lot of the data that would be available to you normally. And instead of seeing kind of their whole customer journey and all of that stuff, Facebook will only be allowed to send you one event, like a lead, a sale, or a page view, or whatever that is, based on if they've opted out. And you'll have to kind of choose what that most important event is. We'll talk about that here in a second. But the statistical modeling, so when Facebook doesn't have visibility into users customer journey and purchasing behavior, they're going to statistically model that and kind of fill in the gaps based on what their models could assume. And so what that means is with reporting, traditionally, Facebook had been able to go back to 28 days after a click to measure a purchase. So if someone clicked on an ad and then 14 days later they went through your sales funnel and ended up purchasing, Facebook would be able to attribute that sale back to the original click. Now that will no longer be able to happen. Now that will only be 7 days. So if your sales cycle is more than 7 days, a lot of those sales will no longer be showing up into Facebook. Also, reporting on leads and sales will be delayed up to 3 days, with only the top level conversion being reported. So your sales data going back, your ad data going back 3 days will not be complete. It will get filled in over time. And then again, if someone opts out and they go from a page view to a lead to a sale, only the top level conversion will be reported. So you'll see the sale, but you won't see the page view, you won't see the lead. So this will definitely affect how our reports are going forward. And then a few other things here is retargeting audiences based on pixels will become less accurate, presumably because people will opt out, and so they won't be able to be added to a retargeting audience. And then here we will have Facebook advertisers will be limited to only 8 conversions per domain, actually, based on their most recent webinar. So if you have a few products, and let's say there's a couple of points you'd want to track, lead, add to cart, and sale. Let's say you got 3 products, well, that's 9 events, and you won't be able to have that many per domain. So presumably what we will start to see is, especially in the info product space and program space, we'll probably see people creating new domains for specific products. So if you have a new product, maybe you'll create a new domain so that you'll get 8 conversion events per domain, so that you could track that, because we're going from having 100, I think it's 100 or 125 is the current limit, to now 8. So big change there. Until all this happens, there's definitely a lot of unknowns. Even Facebook in their communication with advertisers, they're saying we don't know all the impacts of these changes. So if Facebook doesn't know, we as advertisers definitely don't know, and we're going to have to wait until we see them rolled out. And again, there's not even a timeline on when that's getting rolled out. It's going to be rolled out sometime early 2021. They said as early as the end of January, but we have no actual date for this. Facebook is not being very specific about the insights and events that advertisers will lose and exactly when these changes will take place. So we just don't know exactly all the details, because Facebook's not really communicating that with the advertisers. We also don't know how many people are going to opt out. We don't know how this is going to impact our current strategies and processes. So that's just kind of the snapshot of what we see happening. Now, currently for us, especially if you're a client of ours or you work with us, what we're doing to make sure that you're on top of it and your campaigns continue to improve and are able to run effectively is we're investing a lot of times and resources to master some third-party platforms. Wicked Reports is one that we're really optimistic about right now. Also Google Analytics, and there's some API tools that we could potentially use to gather and store as much useful data as possible after this is rolled out. And then we're also really plugged in with a team team of tracking and measurement experts to make sure that our agency is on top of everything that can be done to keep the campaigns performing normally as possible, and offer you greater insight into what's going on potentially than what you could get from Facebook ad data. So we're not only reliant on Facebook pixel data, we have other ad platforms that we're using this for. And then we're adjusting a lot of our processes and measurement systems to be able to optimize and improve your campaigns after this new update takes place. But a few things we can do right now, and again, a lot of these things are kind of unknown. We're kind of evolving with what's going on as it happens. But one of the big things we can do is verify your domains. So I'll send you this link where I walk you through how you can verify your domains, and we'll work with you to get this done. So this is one of the directions from Facebook, is like, this is one of the things we can do is verify your domain with Facebook. So we definitely want to do this for everybody. One of the tools we're really optimistic about is Wicked Reports. So most of our clients are on Wicked Reports. If you're not, we can definitely have a discussion about getting on it. One of the things that we're optimistic about with this platform is speaking with their team. They're able to track leads and sales by connecting to your CRM and your sales platform, and then using a first-party cookie on your website. And so with that, they'll be able to gather a lot of the data that it sounds like Facebook could be missing, and then they have a integration with Facebook so that we could send that data back to Facebook in the form of offline conversions. And so that what that would mean is any of that data that we're missing with Facebook after this new update could potentially be filled in with Wicked Reports if it performs the way that we expect it would. So that's something we're really optimistic about. And if that is, not a solution once we actually see it, Facebook is also kind of advising people to use their API conversions tool to send data back to Facebook, which is exactly what we'd be doing with Wicked Reports. Kind of that system would already be built. If not, we'll kind of look at how we can custom build that solution. Also, something we're looking at doing is being able to use third-party tools to build custom audiences. So if we're using pixels to currently build your retargeting audiences and we lose that data, but we still want to retarget people, let's say, who have become leads but haven't bought, we could use a third-party tool like ActiveCampaign has this integration in their CRM, and other CRMs already have this, or there's other tools we could do this. What we can do is build audiences based off your CRM data. And that way we can basically send that email over to Facebook and say, hey, add this person to this audience or remove this person to this audience based on this action. So that's definitely something we're looking at to be able to maintain our retargeting audiences. I think now, like this year, is a good time to start to consider diversifying your traffic sources. If you're 100% dependent on Facebook, there's an argument to say, when you might want to start scaling out to other platforms. But if you haven't considered Google or YouTube or some kind of other platform, this year could be a great year to consider that, because again, there's a lot of changes going on with Facebook, and you wouldn't want to be dependent on getting all of your income swiped away if something happened to that platform. And then if you're a client with us or you work with us, notify us about any reporting issues that come up in the first couple of months, because we're kind of going with everything as this evolves. And what we would expect to see is, like, again, we're being very proactive about it, staying on top of it. But if there's anything that comes up, let us know, because we might need to update our procedures for how and where we pull your data and create reports so that you get the useful insights that you're looking for. So that's kind of the quick update. This is all the information that we have at this point. Facebook's had one webinar for advertisers, and they've got another one coming up later today, actually. And so we'll be keeping in touch with everything that we can get on these platforms, kind of this update as it happens. But keep in communication with us. I'll also send you this document of ours if you're a client of ours, and then we will keep working together to figure this out going forward. So I hope this video was helpful. I hope it provided some insight. Any questions, let me know, and we'll talk to you next time.